The story begins with a woman named Sarah, who has just moved to a new town with her young son, Chris. She bought a house near the woods, hoping to start fresh after her husband divorced her. Now, it's just Sarah and her son trying to build a new life together. As she's driving Chris toward their new home, the two joke around and enjoy the ride. Until suddenly, Sarah's car hits the brakes hard. An old woman appears out of nowhere, standing right in the middle of the road. Sarah panics and rushes out to check if the woman is okay. The impact had shattered her windshield, and she bends down to pick up the broken glass. But when she looks at the old woman, she notices something disturbing. The woman is mumbling to herself and staring intensely at Chris. This sends a chill down Sarah's spine. She quickly grabs the windshield piece, gets back in the car, and drives away. Once they reach home, Sarah notices a spider on the floor. Chris jumps back in fear, so Sarah calmly traps the spider in a jar and releases it outside. But Chris asks angrily why she didn't bring his dad with him. If Dad were here, he would have killed that spider, he says. Then, he stomps on the spider, killing it. Sarah scolds him, but Chris gets upset and runs straight into the woods. Sarah chases after him, and deep within the trees, she discovers a massive, eerie sinkhole. The sight terrifies her. As she leans over to look inside, Chris suddenly appears behind her, startling her further. She grabs him and quickly hurries home. That night, Sarah attends a party at a friend's house. There, one of her friends brings up an unsettling rumor about an old woman who lives in Sarah's new town, an old woman who looks very strange. Sarah immediately realizes it must be the same woman she encountered earlier on the road. Her friend explains that the old woman once had a son who went to their school, but the boy was never allowed to talk to or meet his mother. One day, the woman stormed into the school and tried to drag her son away by force. The whole incident was so bizarre that both the mother and the boy were expelled from school. A few days later, rumor has it that she killed him herself in a so-called accident. All of this sounds incredibly strange to Sarah, and she can't stop thinking about it. That same night, while she's asleep, Sarah suddenly hears noises coming from inside the house. She gets up to check. The front door is wide open, and Chris is gone. Fear takes over instantly. She rushes out into the woods, but she can't find him anywhere. Panic builds inside her as she hurries back to call the police. But when she turns around, Chris is suddenly standing right behind her. Relief washes over her, yet something feels wrong. Chris looks different. The next morning, still worried, Sarah takes him to a doctor. She also suffers from depression because her ex-husband used to abuse her, so she fears something serious may be happening. Later, as they pick Chris up from school, Sarah sees that same old woman again, but this time her husband is with her. While Sarah speaks with him, the old woman walks right up to the car window, staring directly at Chris. Then she begins screaming, losing control. "He's not your son. That's not Chris." She starts banging her head against the glass, completely hysterical. Sarah is terrified. The woman's husband pulls her away and apologizes, quickly taking her home. Sarah rushes Chris back into the car and drives away. The next day, Sarah decides to visit the woman's house to find answers, but what she finds is horrifying. The old woman has been brutally murdered. Her head is buried in the dirt. Later, Sarah attends the woman's funeral. Inside their home, she notices every mirror is covered with black cloth. When she talks to the husband, he reveals something unbelievable. His wife had a strange gift. She could see a person's true shadow, their real nature, just by looking at them. And when she looked at their son, she knew instantly he wasn't really their child. She believed something dark, some evil force, had replaced him. Sarah then asks about the boy's death, confused by rumors. The husband quietly explains that his son died in a car accident caused by him, not her. This completely contradicts what Sarah heard earlier, leaving her more confused than ever. The following morning, Sarah eats breakfast with Chris and notices his behavior has drastically changed. Foods he used to hate, he now devours happily. Everything is different. Later, Sarah goes for a walk near the woods and ends up near the same mysterious sinkhole from before. There, she finds Chris's toy soldier lying on the ground. That means he's been going to the woods again, even after she warned him not to. Back home, she scolds him. Chris gets furious, and in one sudden burst of anger, he shoves the entire dining table towards Sarah, yet he pushes it effortlessly. That's when Sarah realizes the boy sitting in front of her might not be her son anymore. Later that night, as Sarah is heading to take a shower, she hears strange, unsettling noises coming from Chris's room. Worried, she quietly looks through the crack in the door, and what she sees freezes her in fear. Chris is sitting on the floor, eating spiders. His body is twisted unnaturally, like something has taken control of him. Sarah's heart pounds as she backs away. She's more terrified than ever. The very next morning, she rushes him to the doctor again. After a full checkup, the doctor calmly assures her that Chris is perfectly fine. Nothing is wrong. But Sarah knows what she saw. She no longer believes this is her son. Back home, during dinner, Chris reaches out and touches the wound on Sarah's forehead. His eyes darken, and then he digs his fingers into the cut, clawing at her skin like he wants to rip it open. Sarah screams in pain, only to snap awake. It was just a nightmare, but it felt too real. The next day, Sarah attends a school event where Chris is performing. As he stands on the stage, he keeps staring directly at her, not blinking, not smiling, just watching her. Even his voice sounds deeper, wrong. Sarah panics and rushes out of the hall. Moments later, his teacher steps outside, with Chris calmly standing beside her. Sarah's suspicion only grows stronger. She's convinced now something has replaced her son. She secretly sets up a surveillance camera in Chris's room. When she watches the recordings later, the footage confirms her worst fears. Whatever that thing is, it is not Chris. Sarah grabs the camera and runs to the old woman's husband, begging him to watch the video. But he refuses, terrified that the same horror that destroyed his family might happen again. The memory of his wife's warning haunts him. In panic, he destroys the camera completely. Sarah returns home, shaken. Chris is quietly watching TV, pretending to be normal. Wanting to test him, she suggests they play his favorite little game. They count to 3, then make silly faces together. But when they stop, she sees no trace of her child in his eyes. That's when she finally says it. "You're not my son. I don't know what you are, but you're not Chris." In an instant, he attacks. With inhuman strength, he grabs her and slams her against the walls. Sarah realized this isn't child. It's a creature wearing her son's face. And Sarah loses consciousness. When she wakes up, she finds herself lying on the ground. The evil being is right beside her, digging into the soil. Before she can react, it drags her to the giant sinkhole in the woods and begins burying her face first in the dirt, trying to suffocate her alive. In that terrifying moment, Sarah finally understands the truth. The old woman had been killed by this monster, not in an accident. She had seen its real face behind Chris's appearance, and that's why the creature murdered her. Fortunately, the drug Sarah secretly mixed into its food begins to take effect. The creature collapses, unconscious. Sarah claws her way out of the dirt and escapes the pit, barely surviving. Summoning every ounce of strength she has left, she drags the creature back to her house and locks it inside the basement. Shaking and traumatized, Sarah stares into the broken piece of her car window and finally sees what the creature truly looks like. A horrifying, demonic entity. As it wakes up, it charges at her once again. She manages to slam the basement door shut just in time and runs into the woods, back toward the massive sinkhole. In desperation, she makes a dangerous decision. If the monster came from that pit, then her real son might still be down there. Sarah descends into the darkness and discovers a hidden tunnel. In the shadows below, she finds him, the real Chris, unconscious but alive. Her heart stops for a moment. She has finally found her son. As Sarah carries her son through the tunnel, she looks behind her, and what she sees sends chills through her entire body. The walls are lined with skeletons, dozens of them, and lurking in the darkness, multiple demon creatures begin crawling toward her. It becomes horrifyingly clear these demons have been kidnapping children, devouring them, and then taking their place in the real world. Just like they did with Chris, and just like they did with the old woman's son. Sarah escapes the tunnel with Chris, but as she climbs out, a demon grabs her arm. She shines her flashlight onto its face, and instantly, it takes her form. These creatures can shapeshift into anyone they touch. Sarah fights it off and manages to break free, pulling her real son out of the pit. She races home, snatches her car keys, and locks the demon inside the basement. Without hesitation, she sets the entire house on fire, destroying the imposter that stole her son's identity. Then she drives away from the nightmare, determined to leave this place forever. Days pass. Sarah and Chris have now moved to a new home in a new town. Life seems almost normal. Sarah watches Chris ride his bike outside, smiling, taking pictures of him through the window. But in one of the photos, his face is slightly blurred. Her heart drops. Inside the house, Sarah has covered every wall with mirrors, more than ever before, because she's still not fully sure, is this truly her son? Or is there still a demon behind his eyes? And with that final unsettling question, the story ends.